Today on the Topic Show, Trump might replace income tax with an upcoming proposal. Kamala Harris handlers have the question chosen for her. Trump NFL ads roast Kamala Harris and go viral. Tesla stock jumps 20% in a single day. Keurig Dr Pepper to buy ghost energy drinks for over $1 billion. A college to allow school IDs for voting, but that includes students that are not citizens. And Realwater, they're ordered a fine of $5 billion. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder released twice today. Gotta say it's quite handsome and brilliant. Tease me, see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you're gonna reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase Q4. Go to toppingtechnologies.com to learn more. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Tesla stock jumping 20% plus, thanks to their sales come in, really bucking the curve, so to say, as other EV sales crumble. Last week we talked about how, Mercedes, their EV sales stumbled by 40% for some of them, and Porsche, which it's an abomination in and of itself to have an EV. I mean, as we know, Porsche should all be stick shifts with good old, manual transmission, a gas engine. You cannot beat that combo. Although Ferdinand Porsche did experiment with electric cars way back in the day, but that's another topic from that time. But in all seriousness, Porsche sales, their EV sales are down by 50%. And most other manufacturers, they're suffering about the same. Ford lost $132,000 per EV sold Q3. So overall, the industry is not good. But there is more competition. And yet, Tesla still doing good. Their sales are up. And the stock, again, not financial advice, always 2020 when it comes to investing. It jumped 20.92%. No, rather, 21.92% last week. Now, go ahead and I'll pull that stock ticker up, which, geez Louise, single day went up by $46.86 per share, went up to $260.48. And again, one of the most impressive stock, in terms of performance of a publicly traded company, has to be one of the best since the dawn of time. I think they IPO'd at $16 or $70 per share. And they split the stock twice throughout the years. Elon is the outlier of outliers, to say the least. Now, going to the statistical data, thanks to Yahoo Finance, the OG search engine from way back in the day, they say, quote, Tesla stock soars for the best day since 2013 as investors cheer Q3 earnings report. Now, specifically, thankful to Pross, who is a writer over there. I'll get a little stock ticker for you as I read the actual substance of the article right here. They say, quote, investors cheered beats on adjusted earnings per share and higher gross margins, in addition to the news that Tesla's cheaper electric vehicle is on track for production next year. As I say, hold, stop. Is it though? Again, I'm very optimistic overall on Tesla's capabilities and Elon's capabilities, but they've had this idea, which it is important in terms of mass market saturation and increasing the sales of the company, because again, they started off brilliantly as an enthusiast company with the Roadster, with a very high price, and they got the sedan, which is still six figures, but there's some more higher price points. The cheaper, it is so hard to get a cheap car that's an EV. The only thing that I've seen successfully in the mass market would be the Nissan Leaf, which was a glorified golf cart. But again, some people did appreciate it, all 18 of them. I'm only partially jesting. Now, they continue to say, quote, CEO Elon Musk said on an earnings call that the Tesla volume, they grew, could be 20-30% next year. Tesla shares end up actually 22%, adding tens of billions of dollars to the company market valuation. Again, the best since 2013. Now, again, going to the revenue, which is a pretty penny. Should clarify, a pretty vintage penny, which is 99.99% copper. These days, it's actually 99.99% zinc and simply copper plated. Perhaps a metaphor for the U.S. economy and our money in general. I only partially digress. And they say, quote, Tesla reported revenue of $25.18 billion, which was lower than the $25.4 billion expected per Bloomberg consensus, but higher than the $25.05 it recorded in Q2, and also topped, A+ for good verbiage, the $23.4 billion Tesla reported a year ago. Tesla reported adjusted earnings per share of 72 cents per share versus the expected 60 cents per share on an adjusted net income of $2.5 billion and that's pretty penny. Free cash flow of $2.9 billion. The closely watched gross revenue margin came in at 19.8, much higher than 16.8%, which, again, that's very impressive. But now, granted, some luxury cars, like you get to Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches, those have a lot more profit than the average car. Now, the average vehicle, when you're talking about like mass production vehicles like General Motors, Volkswagen, Ford Motor Company, those, I mean, if they get 10%, they're happy as hell. That's another astonishing thing. Not only did Elon build a successful EV company, it's one of the most profitable ones out there, if not the most profitable one out there. So, granted, I mean, you know me, everything I own will always have 3 pedals, also known as a manual transmission and a gas engine. I know I'm an old soul in that regard, but shoot, I still respect Elon for this astronomical success. Now, they continue to say, quote, "We delivered strong results in Q2 with growth in vehicle deliveries, both sequentially and year on year, resulting in a record third quarter volumes." Yeah, this is from the company's earnings deck. They continue to say, quote, "Preparations remain underway for our offering of new vehicles, including more affordable vehicles, which we will begin launching in the first half of 2025, which I'd be pretty impressed. Let's actually go to the sales figures. You see we're just like a good old bar graph there. Let's see here. Just straight to the moon. Now they delivered geez Louise, 462,890 vehicles in Q3, up 6.4% quarter over quarter, which I think is a better barometer. No, don't get me wrong, revenue, profitability, those are vitally important. But I mean, with hyperinflation, I would expect partially the revenue to go up in that regard, just because of the ineptitude of the U.S. government, left and right, dollars are worth less and less every darn year. So I do expect revenue that goes up. But to me, one of the biggest parameters or measurements for car success in terms of their metric of a successful automotive company would be, the number of units being moved. And again, go ahead and click that subscribe button. It may very well assist with my speaking ineptitudes. I know sometimes I speak way too fast. When I first started the show, believe it or not, I basically had no subscribers and I spoke terribly. I stumbled over my words left and right. Shoot, probably just as awkward as Joe Biden trying to climb upstairs. But as I slowly but surely get more subscribers, my speaking has improved. Granted, you might argue it's just a modicum of improvement. I still sometimes speak way too fast, but an improvement nevertheless. So you can click that button. I greatly appreciate it as I continue to strive to make the show better and better every day. Now, going back to me attempting to speak, they also continue saying, quote, "The number also came in ahead of the 435,059 EVs that the company delivered a year ago. However, Wall Street expected Tesla to deliver close to 463,897, according to Bloomberg. They also know that the refreshed Model 3 ramp continued successfully in Q3 with higher total production and lower cost of goods sold quarter over quarter, which is even better. Now, they also know that the Cybertruck production increased sequentially and achieved a profit, really a positive growth margin for the first time. That's really impressive. That thing hasn't been out for too long. And again, when it comes to setting up new vehicles, just the machinery alone and the infrastructure to actually assemble it, not just the research and development, coming with the software and everything like that. I mean, to actually get to profitability for a vehicle, it usually takes some time. And some companies never do. The Mini Cooper, before BMW took it over or bought it out from the Brits. I'll go to their revenue over here. Skyrocketing up there. Now they continue to say, quote, "Tesla says it expects vehicle deliveries to achieve a slight growth in 2024. CEO Elon Musk added during the conference call that 20 to 30% growth next year is possible, though he couched it as a best guess. Now, of course, there's some hype saying, hey, the robotaxi is going to come. That's going to change the world, which it might. Not just, actually, here you can see one of those funny looking things. Not only the, actually technology coming to hit the streets, but I do wonder, some people do adopt technology pretty quickly. What is going to be the consumer preference? Are people going to will they like the idea and will they adopt the idea of the robotaxis? I mean, a lot of people joke that, who would get into a stranger's car? And yet Uber is now a multi-billion-dollar companies, publicly traded, and they're ginormous. So, pretty great news for Tesla, especially in this economy, because, again, auto sales, Stellantis, which, again, used to be Chrysler, with now the new parent company, their profits are down 50%. Their sales, I think, are down 42%. Some automotive companies are crumbling. One of the biggest things that's hurting them is the interest rates, which, again, when you're buying one of the most expensive purchases in your life, like a car, that interest rate adds up greatly in aggregate it's quite depressing if you want to go look at, could I buy a new house? What's the interest rate compared to the 1% used to be versus 7%? Oh, dear God. Yeah, it's someday. I keep telling myself I'll go down that road, hopefully. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can still keep up this momentum Q4. Traditionally, businesses do a lot of the revenue in Q4. They call it Black Friday because, on the ledger, back when they actually used to have physical ledgers, not just using QuickBooks and SAP and all this kind of stuff. It used to be red was negative, red ink, and then black was positive. That's why they used to call it back in black. I assume AC/DC were just very enthusiastic accountants. I'm pretty sure that's a real story. But let me know, do you think Tesla can maintain this momentum Q4 going into 2025? Let me know, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Keurig Dr Pepper to buy Ghost Energy for over $1 billion, marking a huge investment into the energy drink category. which this will also be Keurig's biggest acquisition since they bought Texas-based Dr. Pepper a few years back, which, yeah, they used to be headquartered right down the street in good old Plano, Texas, a huge campus, and then they got bought out by Keurig. Those silly K-Cups, one of the best inventions, at least, I mean, for that company ever, because, again, that's what they really grew to. And they're doing so well, Dr. Pepper passed PepsiCo for sales earlier this year, which anecdotally, on a small scale, whenever I have people over for the interview podcast or I have employees and friends over, shoot, I got Black Rifle coffee gaining a little dust in the fridge almost compared to how much people just want the Dr. Pepper. Now, this article actually comes to CNN Business, which somehow still in business, but interestingly enough, when I was looking at this topic, they actually had a little bit more data than the competition. Now, specifically, this is Azuna. The guy's name is Bacon. That's ridiculous. The writer's name is Azuna Bacon. Bacon? It's almost as ridiculous as having a name like Topping. Oh wait, I partially digress. Now, they say, quote, Keurig Dr. Pepper will buy energy drink maker Ghost for more than $1 billion. And here you can see one of the iconic Dr. Pepper cans. It's kind of a little sad, at least to me, because the Dr. Pepper can says established 1885, because, I mean, it was an iconic, independent company for so many years, the underdog, and they're bigger, but now they're based in Boston. Well, at least, what's Ben Affleck sound like? Boston? I don't know accents that well in terms of the Northeast, but that's where Keurig is globally based, so of course they still have this little office in Texas. Now, going to the specifics, they say, quote, the range of Ghost energy drink flavors in partnership with sweet brands like Sour Patch Kids, Oreo, set Keurig up to appeal to a younger audience, the company said in a statement last Thursday. Keurig CEO Tim Cofer said on earnings call that the brand appeals to, new term, Gen Zennials. Not to disappoint, but I'm pretty sure that's not a Scrabble word. He said, quote, these beverages satisfy a near universal consumer need for energy and alertness, which is increasingly relevant in a world with significant demands for our time and attention. Now, this is even more impressive than, talk about great sales. Ghost net sales have quadrupled over the past 3 years. I can't even say it. It's that impressive and unprecedented. I mean, when it comes to, everyone's Shark Tank, which is a great show, the number one thing that kills every drink that comes on the show, every beverage, is the most difficult thing. I mean, it's not the taste, it's not even the brandy on the can necessarily. It's all about shelf space. Getting and fighting to get in those retail establishments and the distribution is dang near impossible. And when you actually achieve that, is pretty darn impressive, which is why I'm pretty impressed to see Ghost on darn near every shelf I've ever seen in terms of retail. Now, they also say that this is the biggest deal Keurig has signed off since acquiring Dr. Pepper Snapple Group in 2018 for nearly $19 billion in cash. I don't want to say it's a business blunder of the year, but yeah, it's kind of weak when Snapple decided to put the iconic Snapple drinks in glass, from the nice glass bottles with the cool little snap top with the little fun fact on it, to going to plastic. Doesn't taste the same. Call me crazy. Now, they say that this move aligns with Keurig's expansion into energy, sports, and ready-to-drink brands. The company first acquired a stake in C4 Energy in 2022 before partnering with Black Rifle Coffee this year to distribute its energy drinks, which, I don't know. I haven't heard of C4 in a little while. It looks like they'll be acquiring Ghost in 2 stages, paying, geez Louise, $990 million in cash for 60% of the company in early 2025. They will buy a remaining stake in 2028, according to the statement. The deal includes Ghost Sports Nutrition Business and Energy Drink Arm. Ghost co-founders Dan Lariano and Ryan Hughes will continue to lead operations, according to Keurig. Which, hopefully we'll see how long they actually stay in charge. Now, Mr. Lorienzo says, quote, as we thought our company's next chapter, Keurig Dr. Pepper's track record for cultivating disruptive brands, similar challenger mindset, and shared vision for energy category and beyond made it a right home for our brand and team. Which, yeah, those founders are making bank. I'm pretty sure they're happy and sad because they know the brands, they're going to work there for a little while. It's traditionally what happens when founders sell out their business. Long term, it'll be interesting to see how long they're involved. I've been really impressed with Ghost Energy sales. To me, I'm a pretty frugal guy, unless it has to do with, unless it's food or water. I usually don't buy it unless it's like a business achievement or it's for the businesses. And I tried Ghost once or twice. It's not my favorite cup of tea, as the Brits might say, or as the Texas might say. It's not my favorite caliber of rifle. But it's one of those things where just the price point, I tried a couple times, I just couldn't justify the price point. I think it's like depending on where you get it, it's like $3 to $4 per can. Just why I'm actually even more impressed that people continue to buy it despite it being one of the most expensive energy drinks out there. Now, they said the sales, but I'm a little interested. What's the profitability and it's obviously viable enough for Keurig to buy it, but I wonder what the actual profitability is. Now, granted, with bulk, I mean, when it comes to these, pretty much any co-pack or any type of beverage, more often than not, they're actually not making this. They use a co-pack, and they're paying a company to make it for them. And the larger the order, the lower the price per unit. That's one of the reasons there's so few new companies getting into this, because minimum orders are so dramatic. I mean, it's so high, but that's the only way you'll get to the price point that's even moderately competitive on the shelf. And one of the biggest things about Ghost is they have all these licensing agreements. Like they have one that tastes kind of like Swedish fish, which false advertising. It's not even made in Sweden. They're made in Canada. Ridiculous. They're not supposed to, they don't taste like maple syrup. Maybe they should. But, I mean, those licensing deals cost a pretty penny. But it's also one of those, I mean, people are trying to buy more and more energy drinks. I mean, traditionally, fun business fact, the most successful penny stock, I'm pretty sure since the dawn of time, is Monster Energy drinks, which ironically started as a healthy juice company, but then they got into energy category, and then famously Coca-Cola invested in them, and now it's part of their portfolio. And then PepsiCo's, I would say the best known one is probably Rockstar Energy. I think those are, and then of course you have the third outlier, the third biggest one I would say being Red Bull. But I mean, Ghost keeps growing more and more. I mean, it sounds like they're just going to keep going to the moon. Do you think the sales will continue, even in this tight economy where people are trying to pinch pennies and save more and more? And have you ever had a Ghost? I mean, personally, I don't really like the carbonated taste of it. I think the last caffeinated beverage in a can that I got was probably, was it hilariously named, but it's called Monster Rehab. And I think the other one used to be Rockstar Lemonade. So like the uncarbonated ones that only have like 20 to 25 calories, though it has most ingredients most people can't pronounce, and Lord knows what they actually do to you. But yeah, I mean, just for me, the price point, I just couldn't get over that. That one or two flavors taste okay. I think, what was it, the Sour Patch Kid one, the blue one tasted about right. But personally, I was never a big fan. But shoot, the free markets rewarded them. They're doing great. So out of curiosity, are you a fan of Ghost? Are you surprised they sold for this amount of capital? And then do you think it'll be a successful long-term partnership for Keurig to expand their portfolio? Or could it be a business blunder where they just don't integrate properly or sales start to crash? Let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Going over to the Culture Pride podcast, you have a college to allow students to use their school ID to vote. However, not all students are U.S. citizens, which perhaps that's by design. Who knows? Now, this comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, in which she says, quote, "Exclusive scoop. An email sent to students at UNCG states that they can use student IDs, aka Spartan cards, as voter IDs for upcoming elections. The university confirmed that international non-US citizens are also issued Spartan ID cards. North Carolina voter registration laws do not require proof of citizenship to register." Mentally vacuous. I added that second part. "This is ripe for voter fraud in a swing state." Which, yeah, can't help but think, probably. Which, again, the fact that some states don't require voter ID or any ID at all in some cases is, what is it, the epitome of mediocrity? Or just intentional, maliciously intentional. Yeah, so you need an ID for darn near everything, from renting a library book, which, okay, let's be honest, not a lot of people go to the library, but anything from buying cold medicine, alcohol, tobacco, just going to a bar, just getting into some buildings you need one. I mean, just to drive a car, buy a gun. Like, there's so many things that you don't, like, it's almost unfathomable that some places are like, oh yeah, you don't need an ID for that. The most important sacred thing, and yet, no, anyone can do it. All right, we'll play the video really quick here.
Libs of TikTok has received a concerning email from a source within the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. This email, sent to university students, states that the official student ID, known as a Spartan card, can be used in the upcoming election as a form of voter ID in North Carolina. After confirming with the university's Spartan Card Center that this was indeed true, we also decided to call the admissions office for the University of North Carolina, this time to ask if international, non-US citizen students would also be receiving a Spartan card.
Undergraduate admission, is this help you?
Yeah, hi. This is the admissions office for the University of North Carolina, Greensboro, correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay, awesome. I'm just calling because I just have a quick question about the admission process. I have a family member who was looking to come and study there, in the U.S. You accept international students, right?
We do.
Okay, great. Thank you for the information. I was also just curious.
Absolutely.
While I have you on the phone, international students are still eligible for like meal programs and other similar things on the university, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And do you know how that works exactly? Like, I know a lot of schools issue like IDs of some kind as a way of like accessing things. Would he be given one as well if he attended?
Yeah, right. So yeah, he'll be receiving a student ID card, and whatever he wants to have added onto his account, he'll have a flex card, and he'll utilize his student ID. It will double as his a card as well.
Got it. Yeah, I saw on the website. I did see something called a Spartan card. Is that essentially like the student ID for the
That's it.
school?
That's it.
That's it. Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
North Carolina voter registration qualifications state that you must be a U.S. citizen in order to vote. However, citizenship documents are not required in order to register to vote in the state. Additionally, voter registration information required in North Carolina only specifies that you need to check a box confirming that you are a U.S. citizen and meet the age requirements. Students visiting on an F1 visa may also apply for a social security number, and dorms may be used as a residential address when registering. This raises serious questions about the role that state universities have regarding a non-US citizen's ability to vote in our upcoming presidential election by utilizing a university-issued student ID.
Pretty good music too. That went pretty well. I got 1.3 million views as well as 28,000 likes, which, yeah, that's quite concerning. That being said, it's interesting how we're only finding out about this now, which, and what have Republicans done for the past couple of years? I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking this, but I mean, after 2020, don't you think not every penny or every drop of blood or every, all of your effort should have been on that necessarily, but yeah, you'd think more people would be looking into these types of things. Now, one of the first comments comes from Chuck Costello, says, quote, "This is why we need to be too big to rig," all caps. They plan to cheat right in front of us. Arizona also saying they'll take 10 to 13 days to tabulate results for the election, getting 705 likes, which, yeah, even third world countries can count their votes faster than Arizona. I mean, we could probably make a whole comical list on things that people can do faster than Arizona can count that. I mean, shoot, you can figure out and submit your taxes to the IRS before Arizona can count all the votes in their state. Yeah, ridiculous. You also have Lita Michelle saying, quote, "The law is in all but 5 states allows student IDs to be used for registering and voting. This is a loophole that must be changed. Call your state legislators and tell them to fix it. You don't have to be a U.S. citizen or resident of the state to get an ID," getting 484 likes. Valentina Gomez says, quote, "These quote-unquote Republicans had 4 years to make it impossible to cheat in our elections. They're all talk and no action." Okay, gave 1,000 likes. Well, yeah, there are a lot of rhinos, pejoratively known as Republicans in name only. I mean, something I was gonna say. I'm not sure how durable soapboxes are these days. Probably highly reinforced corrugated cardboard. I'm not sure if you can actually stand on a soapbox these days necessarily, but one of my soapbox issues is the NFA Act of 1934, also known as the National Firearms Act of 1934, in which if you want to buy stuff like short-barreled shotgun, short-barreled rifle, suppressor, machine gun, if your state allows it, you can, but you have to pay a $200 tax stamp to the U.S. Treasury Department, as well as be treated like a criminal with getting a passport photo taken, as well as fingerprints. Long paperwork process that takes between, if you buy as an individual, 2 days, but if you buy it in trust, it's as long as 6 to 9 months. And it's one of those things where totally unconstitutional, it's viscerally disgusting, and it's been around again since 1934. And Republicans have had multiple times where they had the House, the Senate, the White House, and yeah, they say they're pro-gun, and yet they never repealed the NFA Act of 1934. So yeah, let's just say Republicans consistently let me down. And that's one of my, not just pet peeves, but my soapbox issues, where it's like, totally unconstitutional. I wish the Supreme Court should take up those issues. But yeah, you can have your rights, but if you pay a $200 tax stamp from 1934, well, perhaps the one time the government's ridiculous inflation does help people, because $200 in 1934 correlates to about $4,800 in 2024 dollars. So the one-time inflation actually helped us out was NFA Act 1934. So yeah, that'd be nice if Republicans followed through. That's why I'm pretty skeptical about most politicians in general. You also have Liberal Crap Media TM says, quote, "Let me guess, Democrats authorized the no proof of citizenship requirement. This is how we secure and win elections, especially the Statue of Liberty." Says, quote, "Every election will be stolen until we fix the problem. Paper ballots, no machines. ID required, signature verification, vote in person, proof of life, signature/ID absentee and mail-in ballot." Got 318 likes. Now, logistically, I don't know how. Let me know in the comments, what would you think would be the most optimal and most secure way to actually run a election? because again, I mean, I always joke. I mean, well, I work in cybersecurity, is my company that I own, and you can brute force your way into a company like you see in the movies, where you kind of try to break through the firewall or just break into the system. But more often than not, it's the human error. It's the social engineering where you call somebody, you trick them, you get their credentials, and the human error is it's the butt of a lot of jokes in cybersecurity, because that's more often than not, that's where companies trip up. That's how you gain access to things you're not supposed to gain access to. Now I say that because if you had a human counting all those things, humans are infallible by our very nature. Would that be more accurate than a machine? It would be interesting if we had like a machine that is open source so that people can actually examine the software, because a lot of people are concerned that some machines don't work. I'm not going to mention any machine names, of course. We never defame the glorious names of those voting machines, of course. But yeah, let me know, what do you think would be the most optimal, secure way for us to run an election? I mean, in our lifetime, I don't think you'll ever be able to do it from your phone. Just the amount of security you need to make that happen, I don't think it's viable, and I don't think the average consumer would trust it, that being the other concern as well. And going to the other comments, you also have Paul Zupa saying, quote, "This is ridiculous, just another invitation for voter fraud. This needs to be addressed immediately. Where are the lawyers?" Getting 647 likes, which, that's a good question. They're probably around there somewhere. Let's see. Old School Eddie says, quote, "Democrats refuse to secure our elections for one reason. They plan to cheat. This is the only reason for not wanting to secure elections. They can't run from that," getting 106 likes. Which, this is kind of funny. It's like a political thing. Like, 20, 30 years ago, I would think is interesting. It's a controversial thing in the United States, and it's an issue where, oh yeah, vote and IDs, you can't ask someone for that. That's ridiculous. That's burdensome. Which, again, you need an ID for damn near everything these days. To not require one for one of the most important sacred things of our country, to me, it's just ridiculous. It shouldn't be controversial. That's why I do kind of suspect that people who don't want voter ID just want to be able to cheat. Let me know in the comments if you think of a legitimate reason why you shouldn't need to show an ID for the most sacred act. Let me know in the comments. Do a couple more here. I'm not seeing any contrarian statements thus far. Rebecca Collins, pronouns is the real one, says the cheating is right in front of our faces. It's a little, I don't know what you call it. It's not a GIF or a meme, but it's just a picture where it's just a colored background with text in front of it. It says, quote, "The fact that Democrats won't pass a voter ID bill tells you they want to cheat in elections," getting 569 likes. So, I'm not sure. Again, with the time frame the election being right around the corner, I don't suspect it's going to be fixed anytime soon. In terms of college campuses being more laid back, and the culture of college campuses, on average, being more Democrat leaning. I mean, shoot, I went to college in the Midwest, and even there, it's much more left leaning in general. But that's why I suspect I don't think there will be any real reform on a collegiate level. But let me know what your thoughts are, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Even if it takes me a day or two to get back to you, I appreciate your patience. I try to get back to all the responses in a timely manner, even though I juggle a couple of balls with a couple of companies I run. Now, appreciate it. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have Trump saying that he wants to replace income tax with tariffs, which he said before, how would he actually do this in practice? Lord knows we've been paying enough taxes throughout our whole lifetime. It's one of the biggest scams. I mean, people remember, before World War II, there was no income tax for the longest time in America. Again, click that subscribe button. It may help with my speaking ineptitudes. I have that theory going. But, I mean, back before World War II, you had no income tax on a federal level. And they said, oh yeah, first we could use some help. So you can volunteer to pay a tax. Then they said, well, it's not enough. We're going to have a tax, but it'll go away at the end of the war. We promise. And like every tax Republicans and Democrats passed, it never went away. And nowadays, you have the federal government stealing about 40% of your income in some cases. Some states stealing as much as 13% of your income for income tax on a state level. Then how much you pay sales tax. Texas is 8.25%. Ridiculous. You got sales tax, you have a state tax, you have property tax, you have gasoline tax, you have tobacco tax, you have alcohol tax, telecom tax, inheritance tax. Those are just to name a couple. Car registration tax. It's ridiculous. If we were really good at math, we actually calculated how every dollar we earn, how much we get to keep, it'd be woefully depressing. And a lot of people would say unconstitutional and viscerally disgusting. And there are a lot of people who live in America and they don't pay taxes. So that's why there's been a large argument for us to shift the idea from taxing income to actually doing a sales tax. That way, in theory, you'd be able to gain more capital because everyone would actually be paying into it, not just people who are known here legally and they're actually paying income tax. But another proposal by Trump, very controversial, is to have a tariff, which would also spur U.S. manufacturing because a lot of businesses, they know if you're going to have, again, depending on the percentage of how much you put on it, it might become prohibitively expensive to buy an imported iPhone, for example. Depending on what that percent, maybe it's a 50%, 100%. I mean, they're talking, Trump's proposed a 1,000% tariff on EVs from China, which that'd be a huge, I mean, that's going to, I think that, and again, this is him tweeting, these are all kind of policy proposals. I think something that is going to be needed to actually salvage U.S. manufacturing, especially for EVs, especially the government keeps forcing them down our throats, because it is darn near impossible to beat China in price points, and they are so effective at reverse engineering and copy pasting other tech. I wonder if there's I don't know if there's a conceivable way where we actually have real fair competition on it for EVs between the countries without having tariff. Let me know if you think differently. Now, going to the actual tweet, this comes from DC Drano. He's actually reposting an article from the New York Times. Now, the New York Times article says, quote, Trump flirts with the ultimate tax cut, no income taxes at all. The former president has repeatedly praised a period in American history when there was no income tax and the country relied on tariffs to fund the government, which you also need to cut a lot of, you need to trim a lot of fat from the federal government. Lord knows they have it. And DC Drano responded saying, quote, Trump is considering to end all federal income taxes and replace them with tariffs. If he does this, he will go down in American history as the greatest president since George Washington. I can see that. Red Pretty Bell got 1.9 million views and 81,000 likes, including one for myself. Which, yeah, that'd be pretty nice. Now I'm a little biased, and it's got basically no likes, but this first comment, he's a very handsome individual. It's me. It's the Topping Show on X. And I say, quote, some may forget there's a time where before the government stole a majority of our income, money via income tax, sales tax, property tax, alcohol tax, gas tax, car registration tax, inheritance tax, capital gains tax, water tax, telecom tax, NFA tax, and more. And it's true. No likes, but still, I thought it was interesting because, well, I said it. Now, in all seriousness, getting to the main comments, you have AKA saying this is huge, getting 425, so I get 426 likes. Also have Agent Self FBI says, ooh, we do have contrarian statements brewing to the surface right away. So the Agent Self FBI says, quote, this is the dumbest effing thing I've ever heard of. Replacing federal income tax with tariffs is a deeply flawed idea. First, tariffs are indirect taxes, which means we, the consumers, would end up paying for everyday goods, essentials like clothing, food, electronics, things that are imported daily, would cost more, hitting record low middle families the hardest, which I'll continue to quote a New York Minute here, but yeah, that would be a huge, I mean, as Trump would say, that'd be a huge incentive to make it America and make it great again. Now, if you look at the textile industry, there was a time as recently as the 90s where a majority of clothing was manufactured in the USA. But it's one of those things where now, not so much. It's less than 10%, I believe. And even I try to build, either build everything I can made in America, or I try buy made in America because I try buy, quality over quantity, which these days, the only thing you can make in America on average is higher priced goods. And the only way you can do that is make it by higher quality and charging a premium. And that's why so many things are outsourced. So that's why, I mean, cheap clothing, I thought some made in America socks like 2 years ago. They were pretty good, but again, I think they were about 35 to 40% more than the competition. Now, also, not everyone's buying these things. Now, in terms of electronics, I mean, shoot, if you're frugal like me, you only buy them for work. So this wouldn't affect those. I mean, depending on what you do for a living and what you're buying. Now, he says food. No, there's still a fair amount made in America. Now, if you go to the produce section, more and more is coming from other countries, partially because of the cost advantage. Now, he continues saying, quote, second, the federal budget can't survive. Good. Cut that crap now. I added that second part. I'll read it in full. It says, quote, second, the federal government or budget can't survive on tariffs alone without slashing crucial services like Social Security, defense, and infrastructure. Plus, the global backlash from higher tariffs would harm American exports, hurting jobs and shrink the economy. Sounds good in a tweet, but in reality would be devastating for average Americans. Now, I understand where he's coming from in his perspective, though I don't agree with it. That did get 2.3 thousand likes. Now, Social Security is the dumbest, well, you could also argue it's evil for the government to steal from you and think they could save better than you. They clearly have shown they can't. This is something that Trump should say, Kamala should say, we need to cut this shit because it's not sustainable. Especially with the decrease in birth rate, it's not sustainable. It's a terrible idea. The government does not know better than you, clearly. But again, no politician, Republican or Democrat, will utter those words because they know they would lose the elder vote. And they, on average, they go out to vote at a greater rate than the youth. Now, realistically, I think that both candidates, Republicans and Democrats, should come out and say, hey, just look at the numbers here. This is not sustainable. So again, if you paid into it, you're fine. We're going to have to pick a number. Some people unfortunately can get the short end of the stick thanks to the ineptitudes or corruption of the U.S. government, and or corruption, I should say. But we need to set a date where after, this date, this thing's going away. You can wean off it, so to say, but it just is a terrible idea. It's not working. And again, you do need to cut it. It's gotten so bad, the U.S. government taking money out with loans from other countries, we pay more on the interest on the loan than we do on defense. That's just the interest, not even paying the principal off. Which is why, well, the pessimistic me thinks it's all by design, but I partially digress. Planet of Memes, which did in fact respond in meme form, said yes please, and has a picture of Lisa in front of the projector, which does age me a bit. They used to project things way back in the day. I remember the overhead projectors. Am I the only one? But I'll get to the meme. Now, Lisa says, quote, the best stimulus package would be a 0% income tax, getting 2.1 thousand likes, which, geez Louise. Yeah, imagine, geez Louise. If I got to, yeah, shoot, I'd buy a house. Yeah, I could see, I could, if I got to keep all my tax dollars, yeah, I'd buy a house. What would you buy if you got to keep all your income tax the federal government steals? I mean, taxes from you. Like, I mean, it's not enough for a house and like a Porsche or anything, but a nice little house maybe. Well, more accurately, payments for a house, to be honest. Now, scrolling down, you also have Keith Olbermann, another contrarian, saying, quote, well, pop up there, have fun in a cave, weirdo, getting 1.2 thousand likes. So, of course, in true Keith Olbermann fashion, not actually addressing the core substance of the issue. Taskmaster 84 says, oh my god, this is what America needs. Let's do this. President Trump getting 477 likes. Craig Chamberlain says, quote, shut up and take my vote. Get 508 likes. Another contrarian comment, you have Franklin, which is the weird leftist guy who has a picture of an anime girl as his profile picture and shows to the left. But nevertheless, I follow him because contrarian, want to live in an echo chamber. He says, quote, awful policy and prediction, getting 72 likes. Luke Zaleski simply has laughy emoji, unicorn, and rainbow. Mostly mentally vacuous, but got 32 likes. Yeah, Donald J. Trump press release commentary account said Trump's the only one that can put America first. Picture of Trump Melania says, let's bring some clash to the White House, getting 587 likes. Let's see. Todd Headley says, I want Trump on Mount Rushmore before this is said and done, getting 414 likes. Bowtie Queen says, I promise I love him forever. I don't know the pop reference culture, but it's a gal in a sailor uniform. And she's holding a sign that says, it would be easier to live within our means if we weren't taxed to death. Amen to that. Getting 539 likes. Let's see. Phoenix 2A says, damn, if this goes through with this, oh man, this is massive. Getting 612 likes. So there's a picture of Rand Paul dancing in like what was it? Dancing with all lasers behind him. The appropriately named account is based and biased. Says based taxation is set, getting 109 likes. Let's fix that. Let's make it 200 likes. 205. Whoa, jumped up right before our eyes. Light Template says proof that taxes are just a manipulation device to keep people in compliance, getting 197 likes. Green Lives Matter, in Space Ravage Frog, says end the theft of American people and federal income taxes, getting 178 likes, which, I mean, the federal government, they're not, I mean, if you look at the founding fathers, they're not supposed to do much. Basically just protect us from foreign invasion. Yeah, have they been doing that lately? With 11 million illegals passed in the last 43 months now, I believe. Yeah, I'd say they get an F- for doing their job. What does the federal government do for us again? I do, maybe I need props for the show. I can actually see if I drop a pin, we'll be able to hear it. Not sure how good the microphone is, but that might be at least moderately amusing. Because, yeah, I'm trying to think, what benefits do, let me know in the comments. Do you, I mean, what benefits do you get from the federal government if you're not on their sit, not getting their handouts or anything like that? See, scrolling down more and more. Chris says this would be huge and restore the middle class. It would also save America the cost of the IRS. Ooh, that'd be a good one. Getting 38 likes. That's a good point. Let's see here. So, again, a couple contrarian comments. And I'd love to see a further analysis of how this would be practiced and execution and what the total... Be interesting. At the end of the day, would the government make more money or less? I mean, either way, you need to cut the fat from the federal government. It's got so bloated and does so much stuff they're not supposed to do. And, well, the stuff they do, I argue, is ineffective and mostly useless. But let me know, do you think this would be a better idea? It would definitely shift in terms of manufacturing. It would bring a lot more brands to the U.S. Though, as one of the contrarian comments did say, it might be retaliatory towards some other countries where if they want to buy American goods. It'd be fascinating to see a little infographic or breakdown between how many things the U.S. actually exports throughout the years. Because if you look at our economy, it is very top-heavy in terms of it's mostly a big part of it is technology. I mean, you look at the S&P 500, over the past year, over 50% of all the gains have come from 8 companies. And they're the big tech companies, including, of course, NVIDIA, which, like many tech companies, they do, research, development, and design a lot of the graphic chips here, but a lot of them are made in Taiwan and other countries. So, I mean, the U.S. economy is really very much service-oriented the past couple of years especially. But let me know, what do you think the implications would be from you as a consumer? Do you have a preference? Would you prefer to have no federal income tax and you just pay a little bit more when you're buying imported items? I mean, shoot, truth be told, how would this affect me? Well, I guess it would affect my tech company since we do sell some hardware, which is more often than not made in Asia. But in terms of my personal life, yes, with the exception of my little, well, I was gonna say I'm never gonna sell my Honda. So, although if I get made so much, if I had no federal income tax, maybe I'll get a Type R. Well, probably not, but yeah, it'd be interesting. Let me know what your thoughts are, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, yeah, Kamala Harris handlers, they're actually choosing the questions for her. In addition to them, of course, probably being pre-scripted, which such a funny juxtaposition between Trump and Kamala. Trump, when when he's behind the mic, and when he's in office, you just call on every reporter he wants to, just point him out. But no, she has to have some extra help with her Volkswagen-sized earrings that look suspiciously like audio devices. Now this comes to us thanks to and wokeness, in which he says, quote, Kamala now has a handler for her at her side to call on pre-selected reporters for her. Worse than Biden. And does she have her $65,000 necklace? I'm not a fashion aficionado. I mean, maybe that's the one. Which, if you're a public servant, that is just ridiculous to have, as youth might say, that much bling. And again, those earrings, this is the most suspicious thing to me. I know some female folks out there, and if you're a female listener, let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure it's common to accessorize. Why would you use the same pair of earrings for darn near every outfit for the past couple of months? Unless they were audio devices. Especially, there are some times where she's more articulate than not. Granted, the bar's quite low, but, while mentally vacuous, I'm not sure if it's an intern talking to her. That's conceivable. But when she has those earrings on, she's slightly more coherent than before. And again, the same big old earrings no matter what outfit she's wearing. So for me, that's a big, unusual red flag. But let me know what your thoughts are. Now, thankfully, it's not too long. It's only about 11 seconds. But here she's attempting to speak.
We're going to go to Colleen at the AP.
Hi, Madam Vice President. Do you think that Republican voters, and specific women voters, will be more likely to vote for you because of the fall of Roe?
So, that is the one thing they talk about is abortion. They can't talk about the economy, can't talk about inflation, can't talk about border. It's one thing they have, which, again, doesn't matter on a federal level because it's been relegated to the states. They're not honest enough to reinforce that to their voters because, true, that's how they raise money and get voters to turn out. But it's so dishonest to keep saying, oh, yeah, this is a big issue for the ballots. It's not on a federal level. If you want to change it at a local level, go somewhere and get some nice, maybe ironically, you can go to, well, depending on your political affiliation, if you want, they probably appreciate more if you're pro-life. You go to Hobby Lobby, get some nice cardstock to make some make some posters, let your opinion be known peacefully. But yeah, it's going to be on a state level, not federal level. But they're pretty disingenuous these days. Now, this went pretty viral. Got 1.4 million views as well as 44,000 likes as, yeah, it's become more and more obvious. And remember the town hall she had a couple days ago? The gal who was reported on town hall, she's like, oh yeah, we have some pre-selected questions. Like, and of course, a camera angle picked up the teleprompter. So, yeah, it should be no surprise that Kamala Harris is not going on Joe Rogan. Because she can't even carry a conversation more than a second without a teleprompter or someone speaking for her. Now, let's give it 44. I thought you could make it 45,000. One of the first comments coming from AKA says, quote, LMFAO, a Biden strategy, got 195 likes. Paul Suzupa says this is peak weakness, getting 339 likes. Oh, a little disappointed. Planet of Memes did not, in fact, respond in meme form, but they did say text. They said, quote, talk about being fake, getting 84 likes. Cool Christian Engineer says the nerve of this woman to speaking straight while lying, getting 9 likes. Thick Eggshell says the puppet usually needs a hand, getting 2 likes. Damian Ranger says, good grief, Kamala. Why not just hand out written answers to your pre-selected questions that your staff has already prepared for you? Getting 160 likes, which I'm not too surprised. It's almost an insult like this. They're doing this right in front of our faces. And I know there's a lot. They always say vote blue no matter who, which is so mentally vacuous and ridiculous. Why not vote for the best candidate for your ideals or someone who actually stands for something or has a plan or a track record? Which, and again, there's some people on the right who will vote for someone as long as there's an R next to the name. I think it's equally mentally vacuous. And yet, there is a whole mantra on the left where they have like whole campaigns that just yell "Vote Blue no matter who," which is ridiculous. You have Proud Patriot US says, quote, "She's a dumb puppet in the deep state. The left can't deny it anymore," getting 287 likes. CNO says, "Kamal's campaign team now lacks trust in Kamala to the point where she can't even be trusted to pick on the paid propagandist." Good point, getting 223, 224 likes. Nick Sorter says, "She's incapable of performance even at the most basic task. No one genuinely believes this clown would make a good president," getting 743 likes. Let's see here. Donald J. Trump press release commentary account says, "Trump has been fighting for us. Now it's our turn. Who's ready to stand up for him in 2024? And it's Trump in his gold palace or Mar-a-Lago saying the life he had. And it's Trump after he was shot the first time says the life he chose, getting 82 likes. Let's see. Cameron Gilliam says, "Everything these people do is entirely fake. If you vote for them, congratulations, you're a fool," getting 55 likes. Beam says, "This is more scripted than Biden LMFAO. That's getting sad," getting 67 likes. Which, yeah, I'll never forget when they actually caught Biden with that card that said who to call on and what to say. And yet people still voted for him and still supported him. Ridiculous. Let's see. Not too many contrarian statements. And again, at this point, I don't think anyone was really too surprised. I mean, let me know in the comments. Do you think it should be illegal when you're being interviewed as a presidential candidate, as a government official, to have a teleprompter? I can't help but think they do more harm than good in terms of disguising and being disingenuous and kind of hiding your competencies or lack thereof. But let me know in the comments. Do you think this will actually do anything in the polls? I mean, as I said, there are people going to vote for her no matter what. But is it affecting those independents? Let me know, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump NFL ad roasting Kamala going viral on X Twitter. Now, this also comes to us thanks to End Wokeness, which he says, quote, "This ad has been playing nonstop during NFL games for the past few weeks. It's changed the race." May I explain this really quick here?
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
It's hard.
Wait, every one of them? Is that in the Constitution? Well, we just talked about the federal government, I mean, their budget being way too high, and while they go negative every year, like, oh yeah, they're going to pay for that too.
Hard to believe, but it's true. Even the liberal media was shocked Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens.
Every transgender inmate would have access.
Kamala's for they, them. President Trump is for you.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Yep, and there's another picture of, what is it? Sam guy? There's a man, a bald man with a mustache who wore dresses, and apparently had access to the U.S. launch codes for nukes. And he went around to airports and would steal people's luggage, women's luggage, so he could perversely wear their unmentionables. And only after like the fourth or fifth time was he actually fired for his ineptitudes. And they say Republicans are weird. I mean, that is the ultimate definition of the pot calling the kettle black. And yeah, in terms of all the things our money is spent for on a federal level, all the tax dollars, should pay for that too? No, absolutely not. I can't think of a single founding father or Federalist document that would support that. Now, got about 260,000 views and 4.6 thousand likes. The first comments, oh, that was the guy's name. Base Electrician says, quote, "Sam Britton has unintentionally become Trump's most effective cheerleader." There's another picture of Sam, which naked with green makes for a good car, not so much for a good dress. Wearing a green dress and green lipstick, which, although the color is green, that has to be the biggest red flag on the planet. Anyone, with the exception of Halloween, well, in this case, even not Halloween for him, but anyone who wears green lipstick, pretty big red flag. Now, that got 580 views and 8 likes. We got more than that. Yeah, Paul Zupa saying, quote, "No one wants far-left gender ideology extremists of Kamala, not even Democrats," getting 18 likes, which, I don't know about that. I think a lot of them are going to vote blue no matter who, and a lot of them, they're going to fall in line with the party mantra. You have Gunther Eagleman, and it says, quote, "The woke mind virus has to be stopped," getting 83 likes. Let's see here. Liberal Cat Media TM has a picture of Kamala, and it says, quote, "I promised to do everything I could have done but didn't do because if I did, I wouldn't have to promise to do it, even though I could do it now, but don't because I don't know what to do, or I would have done it." Which is probably made up, but is shockingly similar to her usual vernacular of talking in circles. it sounds like it could be true. I did get 16 likes as well. Liberty Pill memes, which did in fact respond in meme form, say, quote, don't change your gender at birth, or says, do not change your birth gender. And it's a picture of Willy Wonka looking creepy. It says, if genitals don't define gender, how does removing them affirm it? That got 59 likes. See here? Anti-woke meme says, why do Democrats do this for criminals? This CBS Austin, of course it's Austin, says, inmate who strangled 11-month... Oh, Jesus. Inmate who strangled 11-month-old will get taxpayer-funded transgender surgery, judge rules. Not surprising, this person has about a bucket of... No, not a bucket. I'm not sure what the metrics are in terms of tattoo ink, but their whole face is inked with designs that look like a mask. Got 27 likes. Anti-left memes also says they need to be moved to the prisons from prisons into institutions. There's a picture of The Simpsons that says where the woke used to live before the 70s. Getting 14 likes. Yeah, a lot of people are starting to critique Ronald Reagan more and more for that, getting rid of those. Red Rave Press also says most Americans completely disagree with this. Great ad by Team Trump, getting 27 likes, which I do think more than 51% of Americans do agree that federal tax dollars should not be used for that. Oh, jeez. Jared Marsh has a picture of, well, it's Photoshop or perhaps Microsoft Paint, which I joke is my Photoshop, but it's a picture of Kamala and Joe in a Corvette. And it says, get in the job, or get in, loser, we're going to fix the economy. Or I should use Biden's accent. Get it, come on, man, get in, loser, we're fixing the economy. And it's heartbreaking, only because it's a Corvette that's been hit into a light pole. It's the C5 Corvette? Might even be the Z06. Which used to have 405 horsepower, only came with a stick shift. It's all car stand by default, obviously. That also got 4 likes. We also have the right answer saying, highlighting how extreme Kamala Harris is and will always be the winning strategy, getting 3 likes. Old School Eddie says, it shows off her true character and what she holds important, getting 5 likes. Which, yeah, not seeing too many contrarian statements here. I mean, now that being said, shoot, there are some people who do agree with Kamala Harris and think it's a great idea. You mostly call it San Franciscans. I'm only partially kidding. But I do think for the average NFL viewer, I think it's going to be effective advertisement. I think it'll push maybe some people who don't realize that they're, again, I mean, if people knew how much stuff their federal their taxes are being wasted upon, they'd probably be irate and be a revolution overnight. But I do suspect that the average American would not appreciate their federal income tax going to stuff like that. And maybe it'll push them to vote for Trump, but let me know in the comments, because as always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Realwater company to pay $5.2 billion after it turned out their water is actually poison. Now, this comes to us thanks to Sasha Lofis, who's a writer over at 8 News Now. Now, they say, quote, $5.2 billion awarded in latest lawsuit against Las Vegas-based bottled water company. See, where's just pull up their logo here. Oh, a little disappointing they didn't have the main water logo. But nevertheless, they say, quote, a jury in Southern Nevada has awarded $5.2 billion to 15 plaintiffs in the most recent lawsuit against now bankrupt Las Vegas company Realwater after its product was linked to liver diseases. Daisy Wee, who spoke with 8 News Now Wednesday, was one of the plaintiffs who represented the case. She said, I feel so helpless, so hopeless. We described her systems, I was thinking about Nintendo, perhaps subliminally, or just can't pronounce things today. Again, click that subscribe button. It may help my speaking ineptitudes and help my speaking, because the more subscribers I gained, the better I've gotten at speaking. Low bar, because when I first started, no subscribers, so it can even work. But I did speak even worse, believe it or not. So if you click that button, I greatly appreciate it. And she says, quote, I couldn't get out of bed. I started turning all yellow, jaundice, throwing up. We said she fought her way through acute liver failure in 2020 and was dangerously close to transplant. She was so scared to go to, she said, quote, I was so scared to go to sleep because I was thinking I might not wake up. We also told 8 News that she and her doctors couldn't find a reason behind the illness for months, but they eventually leaked her longtime consumption of real water. Attorney Brenna Switzer said, quote, you never expect something that's actually supposed to be keeping you alive to actually be poisoning you. The now closed company came under fire in 2021 after severe sickness, liver transplants, and one death was linked to its product. We and 14 other plaintiffs in the most recent lawsuit were represented by Kemp Jones LLP with a massive payout, one of the several reached this year. Switzer says it's a wake-up call to the industry to ensure you're making a safe product and you're testing a product before you give it to the public. When the pharma companies were held at that same level. Now she says, quote, if the adequate testing was done, who knows if we would have been here today. We said she's grateful to be alive, and while the settlement doesn't change the past, she hopes it will help her move forward. She said it is kind of like a little light at the end of the tunnel. In the previous lawsuit, an attorney for Realwater told jurors that the company tested the water but did not know how to test her hydrazine. Which, yeah, you should probably know how to test for darn near everything when you have something that's literally going inside people's bodies. Now, we told 8 News now her health has improved, but she has permanent scarring on her liver that will have to undergo medical testing and treatments for the remainder of her life. In June 2021, the FDA announced that Realwater had agreed to cease operation until they could comply with federal regulations. And then in August 2021, they officially filed for bankruptcy. In June, the jury awarded $3 billion in damages to 8 other Las Vegas residents who sued Realwater. In October 2023, a $220 million settlement was also reached, which, how about evil company? It looks like some of these reports are saying this is, oddly enough, a chemical that's also used in rocket fuel, apparently. Yeah, wow. So they said the litigation came down to hydrazine, a toxic chemical found in the water. It was also used in rocket fuel and is directly linked to liver failure, according to Kemp Jones. So this is heartbreaking, and especially because you don't expect it because it's supposed to be water. And deadly irony is called Realwater, not so much. And I'm surprised that there's anyone involved in the company from an executive perspective at Realwater. I'm surprised that. Be interested to see if they're actually, charged as criminals and thrown in jail for the rest of their life, especially if you can prove that they knew this happened. I mean, this is heartbreaking. And again, I'm not sure how much money is realistically there at these companies at the end of the day, and hopefully there is enough funds for these folks, because again, their lives are permanently damaged. But let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Again, hopefully it sounds like they'll have to have some ongoing medical issues the rest of their life, and thankfully, but it does sound the remaining of the folks are they're not being hospitalized at the moment. It sounds like they're moderately stable, so to say. But yeah, the fact that you have this deadly chemical in your water, and I mean, not only is the payout terrible, but the company's gone, and no one's ever going to want to work with those individuals who work there again. Gotta say, they lost a life and damaged a life. Gotta say, Realwater, you are certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.